And then I'm Jesus. Okay. Hey Fuzzy Buddies, welcome back. We are 5 weeks away from Nationals, so I am knee deep in training. Okay, I've got to get faster, or at least I need to get more confident in my ability to finish a puzzle within the allotted time. Instead of just straight up speed puzzling this week, I wanted to do some different things that would kind of help to hone in on different aspects of speed puzzling, so that way overall I'll hopefully get a little bit faster. So I'm part of this group called Speed Puzzle Pals. They have an Instagram and I'm in their Discord. I don't know what other social media they have. But Speed Puzzle Pals does these weekly challenges where you just kind of use whatever puzzle you have at home and you have like these friendly competitions to kind of just see how everyone's doing. And so one challenge that they had a few weeks ago was to see how long it takes you to do a full flip of a puzzle. So I wanted to do that. And then another thing that I saw was Puzzles with PETA. She did a video not too long ago where she was trying to test like just puzzling with one hand at a time and seeing if that was, seeing like what the time was like, and also if she could kind of focus in on her non-dominant hand to see if she could kind of like make that hand a bit more helpful when she's puzzling overall. So those are the two things that we're going to focus on in this video. And I have this puzzle that Roseart sent me, and it's called Colorful Buildings. It's a Kodak puzzle. The box says Crazy Art. Roseart is the one who sent it to me. I don't know who owns who, but it's a Kodak puzzle and it's called Colorful Buildings. So we're going to use this one to do everything that I just talked about. The first thing that I worked on was that full flip. Usually when I do a 500-piece puzzle, it takes me about 5-ish minutes to do my full flip at the beginning. So that's what, like 100-ish pieces per minute, which is like okay, not great. So I wanted to do the full flip with this puzzle just to see what my times look like. So this is a 350-piece puzzle. So it's like, in theory, it would take me, a little under 4 minutes to do this one, or like 3.5 minutes or so. So I went ahead and set everything up, and then I did it 3 times just to see what my times would be looking like. So the first time I did it, it took me 2 minutes and 23 seconds. So not too bad. And then I did it again. I like put the pieces back in the box. I even put the pieces back in the plastic, which was more annoying than I was anticipating. But I put the pieces back in the plastic, reset, all that stuff. And the second time it took me 2 minutes and 22 seconds. So I was like, okay, not much of a difference, but very, very mildly faster. And then I set it all up again, and I did it a third time. And this time it took me 2 minutes and 32 seconds. So I got slower. And in the moment, I was kind of frustrated because I was like, how am I getting slower as I'm practicing the same thing? But honestly, in hindsight, it makes sense. Because when I'm doing a full flip of a 500-piece puzzle, I always feel about halfway through, I get tired. I get sick of doing the flip. I just want to get to puzzling, but I want to do the full flip first. So doing a flip over and over again and getting kind of burnt out after the second time going to the third time makes sense that I did slow down, because typically when I'm doing a 500-piece puzzle, I slow down anyway. So I guess it makes sense. I don't really have like a time to compare it to as far as a full flip of 350-piece puzzles. Most people do 500-piece puzzles, and sometimes you see like 300-piece puzzles and stuff like that. So I don't really have much of a comparison, but for me, finishing the flip in like 2 minutes and 25-ish seconds on average, I think that's pretty okay. And then next, I wanted to move on to doing the puzzle solely with one hand at a time, just to see how that would go. And I was very curious because I don't know if I would call myself ambidextrous. I think technically, if you're ambidextrous, you can kind of do everything with both hands. I'm naturally left-handed, but I was taught to do things with my right. So like I write with my right hand, I like use scissors with my right hand, you know, the kind of things that you do when you're like being taught when you're a toddler or whatever. But when it comes to other things, like I shoot a basketball with my left hand, and then other things I do kind of switch off either one. Point is, I was curious to see if my times would be much different using one hand versus the other, so that's what I did next. First thing I started with was my right hand solve. I started with the right hand because it's not technically my dominant hand, and in PETA's video, she wanted to do her puzzle with her non-dominant hand, which for her is her left. So I started with my right, and I just kind of wanted to see how it would go. I did not want to reset the whole thing and do the full flip again, so I just started off with the last flip that I did, and I just kept the timer going. So the time started at like 2 minutes and 32 seconds or whatever that was. So I pretty much just sat down from where I had just left off, and I got going. And I'll be honest, for like the first 10 seconds, I forgot that I was supposed to be only using one hand. So I like took a second, reset myself. I didn't reset the timer, I just kept going. But then I just put my left hand in my pocket and I used only my right hand. There are times in both sections of the video when I'm supposed to only use my right or when I'm only using my left. I do use both hands sometimes if I like need to move a big section or if I'm trying to like smush some pieces in and I need two hands to smush them in. But other than that, I just used one hand at a time. As I was puzzling, I did feel like it was easier to focus on what I was working on in that moment versus when I'm usually using two hands and I've kind of got like, two hands going, doing two different things. So that was kind of nice to just be able to focus on just what this one singular hand was doing at a time. And so at the end of that puzzling session, I ended up finishing in 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 24 seconds, which is really not like a great time for a 350-piece puzzle, but I was doing it with just one hand. It was my first attempt, so I was like, okay, I'll take it. So then that same night, I kind of like reset. I took a break. I went and took a shower, came back, and this time I was doing the left-hand solve. And I was so annoyed because I was like ready to get started. I pressed start. I'm trying to get the lid off the box, and it was like stuck. The lid would not come off the box, so I just stopped the timer, did it again, and kept going that time. This second time, it felt much smoother as I was solving it. I'm not sure if it's because I was using my more dominant hand or if it's because it was my second attempt. Either way, it felt really good while I was puzzling. And so this time, I had the time of 50 minutes and 51 seconds, which was like a 16-ish minute difference from the first attempt. So I felt really, really good about that. The only thing I do remember is that I got really caught up in the sky this time. I don't know, the first time the sky wasn't terrible, although that was the first thing that I attempted, versus the second time, I think I did the sky last. And so, I don't know, somewhere in there, it was throwing me off. But overall, 50 minutes and 51 seconds. So still like okay-ish for a 350-piece puzzle. But now it was time to do two-handed after I've solved it once with the right, once with the left. I wanted to use both hands and I wanted to like make sure that I was using both hands. Because sometimes when I'm puzzling normally, I will be using both hands and I'll just like stop for a few minutes and just only use one hand. And so I wanted to make sure that the whole time, pretty much I had both hands on the puzzle doing something. So this ended up being the next night because I'd been puzzling for like 2 or 3 hours at this point, so I needed a break. So I came back the next day to do the puzzle, and I'll be honest, this was at the end of a very long, very, very long day. This day, let's see, I think baby had woken up at like 4:45 in the morning, and he was up. Okay, we were awake at 4:45, and then he like didn't want to nap, and then we went out to run errands, and he just had a massive diaper situation. So I was in the parking lot of this place with a screaming child trying to change his clothes and his diaper. It was literally a mess. And then I went and took a nap later on, and I woke up to him literally crawling over my head. When I say crawling, what I really mean is he was standing on my head trying to get to something. So that was fun. And then he bit my forehead, which really hurt. The point was I was a little bit tired. I was a little bit tired, a little bit worn out, but I had to puzzle. So I went ahead and got started. I used both hands the whole time, and it felt pretty okay. I felt much more comfortable with the puzzle. I definitely kind of like knew where things were going since this was the third time I had done it in 24 hours. Both this time and that second time, I really focused on kind of sorting out the pieces and working on one building at a time, one section at a time. And so it felt pretty good while I was going. There were some places that I got caught up again. Some places that I didn't get caught up before, but I did get caught up this time. The sky was slightly easier this time, but still, I kind of struggled. I don't know, me and skies, we don't really get along. But this time, my time was 49 minutes and 16 seconds. It was only about a minute and a half-ish faster than doing it with just my left hand, which means I moved basically at the same speed one-handed as I did with two hands. So I don't know if that means that that's just kind of like my max speed overall, or if it was because I was just tired and that really slowed me down. But either way, it was about the same, which I was kind of surprised by. I thought it would be a bit faster than it ended up being. Ultimately, this still was like 17 minutes faster than my first time doing the puzzle, which just the day before. So I think cutting down 17 minutes overall, I think that still is something to be celebrated. So I'll take it. I'm actually kind of surprised by how much I ended up liking this puzzle. I'm usually not much of a photograph person when it comes to puzzling, so I was kind of surprised that I really, really liked the image. It was very easy to like sort out the sections, the sky, the buildings, the ground. They were all like very separate in their colors and their details. The only thing was like one of the blue buildings has some red, so sometimes I couldn't tell if like a piece went with the red building or with the blue building. But other than that, it was a pretty straightforward experience. Also, I don't think I had ever done like a Kodak puzzle before, so I wasn't sure what to expect there. The pieces were kind of like on the larger side, which it was fine. I don't really mind the pieces being larger, but I will say that these pieces were like pretty chunky. Like they were decently thick, so it felt really nice in my hand as I was puzzling. It didn't feel flimsy. Y'all know what a week or two ago I had that really flimsy puzzle. This one felt nice and sturdy as I was working, so that was really nice. The print on the pieces does get slightly grainy in some areas, but it's mostly kind of in the like ground sidewalk type of part, which is already technically kind of grainy, gravelly anyway, so it really wasn't too bad. And the colors looked really nice on the pieces. The only thing is it is slightly glossy, but at the same time when I was puzzling, it never got in the way. So I don't know what kind of magic Kodak is working, but I really like this puzzle. Another thing that really helped me, especially like the second and third time around, is that I realized that all the pieces are slightly longer than they are wide. So because of that, you kind of know that the pieces have to go either this way or flip it and go that way. So that also was nice in terms of speed puzzling, because that does kind of narrow down what you're looking for. And also just as a puzzle, like, I don't know, it was nice. I had a good experience overall. So yeah, that's how things went for me in this puzzle from Kodak. I did end up putting this into myspeedpuzzling.com, and it's only me and one other person who have submitted times for this puzzle, and somehow I still am in last place. Okay, my time was 49 minutes and something seconds, and the other person, her time is like 47 minutes and some change. So I had submitted 3 times, and that person has 2 times listed. So I think if I did this puzzle again, I could beat that other person. So I probably am going to speed puzzle this one at least one more time, so I can get first place in at least one puzzle on myspeedpuzzling.com, even if that only lasts for like a month. I don't know, but I'm gonna aim for first place. I am glad that I did both of these little challenges to kind of test myself, because I definitely now am like aware of the fact that I need to make sure that when I'm doing my full flip, I don't just like give up halfway through or slow down. Like I need to make sure that I power through that flip to make sure I have like a pretty even time, because like I said, it's like 5 minutes now for me for a 500 piece puzzle. So if I can keep my momentum going the whole time, maybe I can do like 4.5 minutes, which, you know, 30 seconds helps when you're speed puzzling. And then I did really like Peter's idea of doing just one hand at a time to see what your times are like. And so I think I'm going to try that again with another puzzle later on. I'm not sure if I'll film it, but I'm going to keep trying one hand versus the other and then doing it together to see if I can really get both hands working at the same time, because I think that too will really help to bring the times down. So yeah, that's what I have for you this week. Thank you again so much to Roseart for sending me this puzzle and the other ones. If you want to see what else they sent me, I think I'm going to post about those on my TikTok, so make sure you follow me on TikTok and on my Instagram. I'll post those there too. I will have puzzles with PETA's video linked below, the one that I'm referring to here, and I'll also try to link Speed Puzzle Pal's Instagram, so if you want to take a look at their page, you definitely can. I'll have this puzzle linked down below. I don't have like an affiliate link or an affiliate code, so it'll be down there if you want to give it a try yourself. Make sure that you like this video. If you like this video, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in my next video.